That reminds me, perhaps the little Siddhartha is still here, or maybe he is gone. When he had come many, many years before, he was a small child, very small, maybe 3 years old or 4 years old. I can see exactly the moment he came to me. He has brought a small rug and he came as if a grown-up, perhaps Manisha will remember. She was present and he unrolled the rug like the Zen disciples do. And he touched my feet. All those who were present started laughing. This little boy was doing a real thing which is not expected from such a little boy. He touched my feet with great gratefulness, with grace, and then sat down on his rug. That's why I gave him the name Siddhartha. Siddhartha is Gautam Buddha's name given by his father. It is as beautiful as Buddha. It means one who has arrived. Siddhartha, one who has found the meaning, one who has found the significance of existence. Just now he has been here for almost 1 month. I don't know whether he is here or not. Now he has come with a girlfriend, has become very grown up. I was reported by Anando that when he entered the gate after so many years, he had tears in his eyes. He must have remembered the first day he had come to me, almost 20 years before. And he was such a lovely child that his mother reported to me that it is very difficult to find where he is because he goes with everybody. He has such a great friendship with all the sannyasins, and he was a little child. He used to ask anybody, just give me 10 rupee notes. I'm going to see the movie. And it was not only one-sided. If somebody was in need of money, he will bring the money from others and give to the person that keep it. But remember, whenever I need, whenever you can pay. So people used to ask Siddhartha that can you manage 20 rupees? He will immediately go. He had the whole commune, his friendship, and nobody could refuse him. He was so lovely, so innocent, that those tears he must have remembered the first day he had come. Still he is innocent and he is growing well on his own. his father has died, he is in a very good art school, learning acting. I was happy to know when he informed me that he is learning acting, because actors can be very easily meditators, because they are always acting somebody else's role, so they can witness also that it is not their identity. They may become Jesus Christ in a film, but they know they are not Jesus Christ. So, to recognize that their performance is not their being is very easy. To me, acting is one of the best professions for meditators, because it will teach you your identity can change every day. An actor is filming, moving from one film to another. In one film he is one thing, in another film he is something else, in third film he is somebody else. So slowly he can become aware, if he knows the art of becoming aware, that all these identities come and go. And finally he can recognize that his own personality is nothing but an acting, taught by his parents and the priests and the politicians and the professors. All these people are creating a certain personality around you which is not your real being. It is just for convenience sake. They are creating a social being out of an spiritual being. A social being is an ordinary thing. Your spiritual being is vast and immense. So the day after the burning of the statue, Tanka Tenen went to see Nanyo, who had once been a disciple of Ino and was the emperor's Zen master. Certainly he was a very important man, emperor's Zen master. When Tanka unrolled his zazen rug, Nanyo said, "There is no need, because that rug is spread by only disciples, and you are already a master. You don't have to do it." And Tanka Tenen was doing it just out of respect, because this man, Nanyo, was very old, emperor's master, and Tanka Tenen was a young man, although he has become enlightened. This is the Eastern way of always being respectful to the elders, because it used to be a part of natural growth. If a man lives naturally, then just as he becomes sexually mature at the age 14, he will become capable of going out of sexual biological bondage by the age 42. If he lives very naturally, and by the time he gets out of the biological control, it is very easy for him to get out of the mind. The ancient calculation is by the age 49, one can meditate so easily without any effort. The only condition is if he has lived without repressive religions, gods and priests, if he has lived just like a simple, natural human being, without any inhibition, without any guilt, then 42, he gets out of the biological control. Your sex is your bondage. It is a biological bondage. Don't fight against it. If you fight against it, you will not be out even at the age 80 or 90. You will not be out of it at any point. Even when you are dying, your last thought will be about sex. It has been counted that every man thinks at least once about sex within 3 minutes. And every woman thinks about sex every 7 minutes, one time. That is a disparity. That's why men look more sex-oriented than women. The difference is not much. 3 minutes or 7 minutes is not much of a thing. The man has to wait only for 4 minutes. In that 4 minutes, the woman can have the headache and take 2 aspirins and simply be ready. It is the responsibility of your religions to keep you in the bondage of sex by teaching you celibacy. Celibacy is a perversion of your nature. I want you to be absolutely natural. When it is time for sex, it is time for sex. You will be out by the age 42. Just simply out. No question of making any effort to be celibate. Whenever you make any effort, it is against nature. Nature does not allow any effort. It wants you to be utterly relaxed with it. And then nature goes on doing things to you. By the time you are 49, you are really mature. And you have passed 7 years without the bondage of sex. One of the best novelists of this century, Kazantzakis, who wrote Zorba the Greek, he also wrote a book about Jesus, The Last Temptation. Jesus was only 33. And I agree with Kazantzakis that on the cross came the last temptation. In the hot summer day, he is hanging on the cross. And do you think he will think about God? He started having a dream about Mary Magdalene. A dream that perhaps if I had lived differently and I had loved Mary Magdalene, and I would not have got into this trip. I would not be hanged on this cross. In The Last Temptation, Kazantzakis depicts this whole dream Because of this dream, he was expelled from the Greek Orthodox Church. His book was banned all around the world because everywhere Christians were protesting against it, that this is too much. When the film was made in a movie, everywhere there were great demonstrations against the movie. And Kazantzakis, one of the best novelists of this century, lived in utter misery and trouble because the church has condemned him, expelled him. Just now, he is dead. My sannyasin Amrito in Greece knows his wife, and she has been to see her and asked her that would she like to become part of this sannyas movement. She said, I would love, but I am afraid. I have suffered so much because of my husband's suffering. The utter condemnation everywhere. And he has not done anything wrong. I absolutely support him. It's absolutely natural. His insight is clear that a man of 33 hanged on the cross is bound to think that, my God, what I have done. If I had lived a different life with a beautiful woman who always wanted to live with me, and I was trying to tell her, get away, you are a temptation, get away. At the last moment, the temptation must have come to him. I can say with absolute authority that Kazantzakis is right. It is absolutely natural to remember Mary Magdalene, one of the most beautiful women whom he has been denying. That was unnatural. And when God has failed to do any miracle, he certainly would have thought that it would have been right for me to have a wife, children, and live naturally. I unnecessarily went on to this number of being the only begotten Son of God, and there seems to be no God at all. And 6 hours are enough on the cross to bring anybody to his senses. Now there is a movement amongst the intelligentsia of Europe that posthumously he should be accepted by the church again, but church is absolutely adamant. That man cannot be accepted back as a Christian. He has done immense harm to the image of Jesus Christ. He has done immense good to the image of Jesus Christ. He is saying that Jesus Christ is not a pervert. He is a natural human being. He has given as much respect to Jesus Christ as no one else because of this dream. His wife said, I am simply afraid. Your master is continuously in trouble, is going to be in trouble. And I have suffered too much and I am too old. I would have loved, but my whole life I suffered because first my husband wrote Zorba the Greek and the church was angry. And then he wrote the Last Temptation and the whole world was protesting, burning his film, burning his books. Religions have done such harm that it is almost unbelievable. And they are still doing. In the East, particularly, when religions have not become organized, when religion was a freedom, individual affair, people were very natural. And they came to celibacy naturally. And when celibacy comes naturally, it has a totally different flavor. There is no suppression, there are no sexual dreams, there is no question. And by the time you are going to the age 50, in India, the age 50 is called getting ready for the forest. Vanaprastha. By the time you are 50, your children will be coming back from their schools, colleges, universities. Now they will take care of your business. You can look now towards the forest. Perhaps you have to wait for a few days to teach your children the practical aspects of life. They have been in the universities, in the forest universities, and they don't know anything about practical life. They have been meditating, they have been learning, they have been with great seers, and they are coming utterly innocent about the practical aspects of the world. So perhaps for 25 years, that was the Indian calculation, 25 years for education, 25 years for living as a household man or woman, 25 years preparing to go to the Himalayas or to go to the forests. 25 years, last 25 years, absolutely devoted to meditation. If life is 100 years, then this was the division. 4 parts, absolutely natural. By the time one is 75, he should retire into the forest. Now it is time to prepare for death, for another journey, for another experience. Life has passed away. Because of this, the older the man, the more respect was shown to him. And he was worthy of it. If he has lived naturally, he was worthy of it. So when Tankatenin unrolled his zazen rug, Nanyo said, there is no need. He was an old man. He could recognize Tankatenin immediately. Only the enlightened person can recognize another enlightened being. There is no other way. The unenlightened cannot recognize the enlightened. The enlightened can recognize both the unenlightened and the enlightened. The higher can recognize the lower, but the lower cannot recognize the higher. Because the higher has both the experience of the lower and of the higher. The lower has only the experience of the lower. He does not know anything beyond it. But it is the difficulty with the lower. The masses who have never known anything of the higher, they decide things. They decide who is enlightened, who is not enlightened. It is so hilarious. One newspaper from Indore has written an editorial and asked his readers to vote whether I am enlightened or not. So I have informed Chaitanya Kirti to write to him that how many of your readers are enlightened. And first you should think about yourself. Are you enlightened? Can you recognize an enlightened person without being enlightened? But this kind of stupidity goes on and on. The people who had the experience were naturally respected by the younger generation, because they have known many divisions of life. They have been in all the stages and they have passed beyond. Now they have become again innocent like a child. They are getting ready to enter again into existence. But Nanyo immediately said, there is no need. You are as enlightened as I am. You are as a master as I am. Here, age does not matter. Here, time is of no account. Tanka took a few steps backward. These are the ways of Zen. Unless you understand their symbology, their whole metaphoric language, you will miss the whole point. Tanka took a few steps backward. What does it show? He is saying that I have gone deep into myself. You are right. Taking few steps backward means going inward. Nanyo said, that's right. You have gone really deep. At this, Tanka took a few steps forward, just to check on the master what he says. Nanyo said, that's not right. Taking few steps forward is going outward. Taking few steps backward is going inward. Backward and inward are equivalent. Forward and outward are equivalent. Nanyo said, that's not right. At this, Tanka took a few steps and walked around Nanyo one time and left. He has paid the tribute that I had come to see whether you are really that great as everyone talks about you. I have found you are simply the right man to be the master of the emperor himself. On each point, Nanyo proved right. When he was trying to unroll his rug, he stopped him. There is no need. Then he took few steps backward. He immediately said, that is right. At this, Tanka took a few steps forward. Nanyo said, that is not right. Tanka walked around Nanyo. Walking around Nanyo is a symbol of great respect. Making the circle complete from the source, coming back again to the source as a goal. By making this circle complete, he expressed that you are entirely enlightened, completely enlightened. I have nothing to ask, nothing to say. He simply left. Just no word, no question. Those symbols were enough. Nanyo commented, when Tanka left, the old golden days are far away. It used to be very common, enlightenment. It used to be very common to find such a man as Tanka Tanen. But those golden days are far away. And people are now so lazy that they will not even take few steps backward, inward. 30 years from now, he made a prophecy. It will be difficult to get hold of this fellow. He was too young, and he has already expressed his immense clarity and his enlightenment. After 30 years, when he becomes a ripened being and his circle is complete, it has begun to move towards completion. He said, 30 years from now, this man will be one of the greatest masters ever known. It will be very difficult to get hold of this fellow. It is indeed respect and love that old Nanyo recognized not only his enlightenment, but also recognized that it is not far away, only 30 years, and he will be a perfect Buddha. Then it will be very difficult to get hold of this fellow.